Here's a question you probably don't want answered. How do you know you're not hallucinating right now? Take your time. Your brain will answer automatically. It feels normal, it says, which is adorable. That's exactly what it would say if it were making all of this up. See, your brain doesn't show you the world. It shows you a guess, a hallucination you can walk around in, a sort of low-budget simulation built from second-hand photons and childhood trauma. It edits, it censors, it adds CGI where necessary, it cuts corners, a lot of corners. Sometimes entire corners are missing. But it smiles and says, trust me, everything's fine. And you believe it. Because what else are you going to do? Reality's paywall is locked. Your login expired at birth. So here we are, floating in a hallucination of a hallucination, pretending not to notice the flickering seams in the wallpaper. Welcome to the illusion. Let's take it apart. You've heard the phrase, seeing is believing. Cool, so is the checks in the mail. Let's not get carried away. You don't see the world, you hallucinate it. And then everyone around you nods politely and says, yep, looks real to me. Here's the kicker. Your brain has a built-in delay. Like live streaming reality through bad hotel Wi-Fi. You're experiencing everything with a lag, about 80 to 300 milliseconds behind. Which means every time you react to something, it's already moved on and doesn't love you anymore. But your brain, crafty little bastard, cheats. It predicts what should be happening and just sort of renders that. Like a lazy video game engine that guesses the next frame before it's loaded. So when you catch a ball or yell duck at a bird, it's not because you're fast, it's because your brain lied faster. And the lying, oh, it never stops. That color, adjusted for shadow. That motion, predicted based on trajectory. That face you swore looked familiar. Probably a potato. You can look at two things that are literally the same size and swear one is bigger, because your brain trusts context more than your own eyes. This is why optical illusions work. And also, why you dated your ex. Let's talk about bodies. You think you live in yours. You don't, you just rent. There are people whose own hands try to strangle them. It's called alien hand syndrome. Their brain's like, that hand? Not ours. And the hand's like, time to ruin breakfast. Some people think a leg isn't theirs and demand it be removed. Others feel limbs that don't exist anymore. The brain is so committed to its fantasy body map that it throws phantom tantrums if you delete a part of it. Yes, your brain is that petty. Then there's synesthesia, where senses get their wires crossed. You see colors and taste them. You hear music and feel it on your skin. One guy described blue as tasting like blue, not blueberry, not bubblegum, just blue, which somehow makes perfect sense and also none at all. And this is the same equipment you use to decide who to trust, what to believe, and whether that rustling sound was the wind or a serial killer. Spoiler, it's always the wind, until it isn't. So yes, your brain is a fraud, but it's a committed fraud. It's been lying to you since birth with the confidence of a drunk uncle at a barbecue, and you love it for it. Because without those lies, you'd be paralyzed by confusion every time light touched your eyeballs. Welcome to perception. At some point, humans looked around and said, this all feels a bit staged. The clouds are copy-pasted, the people are under-rendered, and sometimes the moon looks like it's lagging. So naturally, the next step was to ask, what if none of this is real? Enter the simulation hypothesis, the delightful theory that reality is fake, and we're all just characters inside an extremely advanced video game designed by something with better coding skills and worse ethics. Not proven, not disprovable, just plausible enough to make it onto late-night podcasts and early-morning panic attacks. Philosopher Nick Bostrom laid it out like this. Either civilizations never make it to the point of simulating reality. They get there but choose not to simulate us. Or they do it, and we're probably in one. And if option 3 is even remotely possible, the odds that we're in the real reality are basically the same as winning the cosmic lottery, while being struck by lightning and eaten by a swan at the same time. But philosophers weren't content being the only ones losing sleep. Physicists got involved. Some started asking, if this is a simulation, would it leave fingerprints? Turns out, maybe. One guy, Melvin Vopson, proposed that information has mass, that the universe might be compressing data to save storage. He even coined a new law, the second law of infodynamics, which sounds like the title of a rejected Christopher Nolan script. According to Vopson, if this were simulation, we'd expect to see information being deleted, compressed, optimized, exactly what we observe. Your universe isn't lazy, it's efficient, like a programmer trying to fit Skyrim on a USB stick. Then there are the quantum experiments. Actual scientists and former NASA physicists running tests to see if reality flickers, if particles behave like rendered pixels instead of continuous matter. If you zoom in far enough, the universe might not be smooth. It might be voxelated, like reality is just a very high-res Minecraft server with better lighting. But we don't even need that level of physics to suspect something's off. You've had déjà vu. You've walked into a room and forgotten why. You've watched NPCs glitch in real life, someone arguing with a parking meter or using Bluetooth in a public restroom. And dreams? Don't even get me started. Nightly, procedurally generated chaos with terrible pacing and zero continuity. If that's not a memory leak, I don't know what is. Then there's the uncanny geometry of coincidences. You think of a friend and they text. You hum a song and it plays on shuffle. You say, things can't get worse, and then they do. The universe responds too well, like a dungeon master with a vendetta. And here's the deeply flattering part. Some versions of this theory suggest we built the simulation ourselves, future humans running ancestral simulations to learn from their past, which sounds noble until you realize you might just be here so someone can write a paper. Let's entertain a thought, a gentle, ridiculous, unsettling thought. What if you're not real? Not in the philosophical sense, not am I a brain in a jar, more like, what if you're just a dream a squirrel is having while asleep in a tree behind a KFC? Sounds insane. But go ahead. Prove it wrong. You can't. And that's the thing about reality. It never shows you the source code. You're just in it. Trapped in first-person perspective, trying to understand the entire system from inside the UI. Your consciousness, this flickering, narrative-obsessed, slightly unhinged thing, could be a side effect of warm mammalian neurons doing jazz improv. Or it could be a shared illusion among meat sacks designed for finding berries and inventing war. Maybe you're the dream. Maybe you're the dreamer. Maybe you're both. Flickering back and forth, quantum superposed between self and cosmic joke. You wake up, and the world appears. You go to sleep, and it disappears. Who's to say the world exists at all when you're not looking? Your cat thinks it doesn't. Your Wi-Fi agrees. And when we're honest with ourselves, really honest, we admit we don't know what's going on. We make spreadsheets and calendars and launch missions to Mars, but we're still the same confused apes howling at stars that haven't heard us in billions of years. Maybe none of it's real. Maybe all of it is. Maybe the question is wrong, because here's the truth hiding in the teeth of all this chaos. You're here, experiencing, now. Whatever now is, even if it's a squirrel's dream, even if it's code, even if it's a hallucinated sandbox designed by a nervous brain with attachment issues, you get to be alive, to think, to laugh, to scream into the void and maybe, just maybe, hear something scream back. So what is reality? Just a strong suggestion. One we've all agreed to take seriously, if only so we can make jokes, fall in love and argue online about movies we've never seen. You might be imaginary, but you're doing a damn good job of it.